What's up, everybody? This is Melodic Punk, and I'm finally back with another video. I was going to get on camera for this video, but I really don't feel like being on camera, so you'll see some gameplay in the background, kind of like some good old classic YouTube commentary that I yearn for nowadays. Because we're all gamers in this community, I like to show gameplay. Everybody else just wants to be on camera talking about games, so here I am playing games for you. Anyways, this past week, we've seen Microsoft talk about the direction that they want to take the Xbox business, and they kind of wasted everybody's time today with about a 24-minute podcast talking about what they've basically been talking about. However, the main difference is that 4 games are going to be coming to the Switch and PS5. Diablo 4 is going to be going to Game Pass on March 28th. There's 34 million Game Pass subs. There's going to be no fundamental change to exclusivity. Game Pass is only going to be on Xbox and PC, and then next-gen Xbox is development. Game Pass will still be day and date, yada, yada, yada. So basically, they kind of just stayed on their moral compass of like, hey, we hear you. Game Pass is going to be here. It's going to stay the same. We're going to start to roll out Activision Blizzard games over to Game Pass. But the main thing that has been the main talking point throughout last week on social media has been the discussion of Xbox exclusive games going over to the Switch and the PS5. And they did not announce what 4 games are coming, but based off multiple reports and based off rumors, which I hate going off of rumors, but it would make sense if the 4 games were Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded. So Hi-Fi Rush came out last year. It was a surprise drop, and from what I played of that game is awesome. That game kind of brings you back to that 6th generation Sega Dreamcast like sort of vibe. So that game makes a lot of sense for it to go multi-plat. There's a lot more potential that you can take over to Sony and Nintendo, especially Nintendo. I feel like if this game came out on the Switch in Japan, this game would actually probably get a lot more sales going on. Just because Japan and Xbox definitely aren't the main selling point. Xbox has never been a big brand over in Japan, so I could see this game doing a lot better on Japanese systems like the PS5 or the Nintendo Switch. And with Japanese gamers preferring more portability, I could see this game doing really well on the Switch. Pentiment, this is kind of like one of those like text story-based games slash 2D games, which I like 2D games, but the style of game this is, it's not really my cup of tea, but I can see this game also appealing to a much wider audience on other platforms. Sea of Thieves, of course, this game has exploded in popularity over time on PC especially, so getting this game on PS5, I can see a lot of people getting into this game, and with the Switch, you know, it would be great to see Rare and Nintendo kind of work together again. Obviously, Sea of Thieves going to Switch is not going to really mean a whole lot other than playing that game on the go, and God, what's the performance going to look like on that game? And then the last one would be Grounded, which is kind of like another like live-based service multiplayer survival game from Obsidian. And I've actually heard really good things about Grounded. Again, it's probably not really my cup of tea, but I can see this game doing well on other platforms. However, these 4 games are the only ones being announced, but what's there to say that other games aren't going to come? And what I mean by that is if Hi-Fi Rush or Pentiment or Sea of Thieves or Grounded sell really well on the Switch and PS5, everything's on the table and comes in terms of just like Xbox bringing out more exclusives. Some people are saying, oh, well, Melodic, it's only going to be those 4 games. That's it. They're not going to bring Halo over. They're not going to bring Gears over. But money talks. Money speaks volumes. Does everybody remember when they were first pushing the Play Anywhere initiative on PC and Xbox, and then when they finally put Halo Master Chief Collection on PC, not only did they drop it into the Windows Store / Game Pass app, they dropped it on Steam. Once they put Halo on Steam, Microsoft said, hey, we're going to put all of our first-party games on Steam as soon as they drop on the Windows Store and on Game Pass. So if these 4 games that are going over to PS5 and that are going over to the Xbox, not the Xbox, it's already on Xbox. These 4 games that are going over to the PS5 and going over to the Nintendo Switch, if they do really well, then everything else is on the table. Like, because after you drop $70 billion on Activision Blizzard, Microsoft's trying to make their money back as soon as possible. Now, Everybody, including myself, was kind of concerned that this was going to be more like a Sega situation, whether or not Microsoft was going to go third party. Happy to report that Xbox is still going to be around. They're going to be coming out with another console. Starfield and Indiana Jones, as far as we know, is still going to be exclusive to Xbox and PC. But again, if the other games that are going over to the other platforms do well, there could be a chance that those games come out on a later date. So basically, I kind of like to think as the Xbox brand, and we'll get to PlayStation here in a second. I like to think of the Xbox brand as a timed third-party exclusive box. So Hi-Fi Rush has been out for over a year. We're probably going to see it on the other platforms later this year. Same with all the other games that have gotten announced. If Indiana Jones or Starfield, after a year lapses on those games and those other Microsoft-based games are doing well on the other platforms, we could possibly see Starfield on PS5. We can possibly see Indiana Jones on PS5. It's not out of the realm of possibility, and people really are kind of against that. I would be too, but I play on PC, so I'm going to have both Xbox and PlayStation games to play as well. And that kind of leads me over to the Sony side of things. Hiroki Totoki, the main big dude over at PlayStation right now, who's going to be taking over Jim Ryan's position, he basically came out, announced today that Sony is not going to have any big, huge games come out before March 2025, meaning we're probably going to have another drought year for the PS5, unfortunately, and it's mainly going to be the third-party games or the second-party deals that's going to be holding down PlayStation this year. I know Stellar Blade comes out in April, and that game looks really good, and they have Final Fantasy Rebirth, but that game's going to come out on PC within the next year. And on top of that, what he's basically saying is like, we need to spend like a little bit less. We need to quit acquiring studios, and we need to push harder on marketing our games over to other platforms, especially on the PC platform. So we're kind of at a weird time when it comes to console gaming right now, because Xbox has had this defeatist mentality the entire FTC trial in order to get Activision Blizzard. They have Activision and Blizzard. They have Bethesda, but now they're talking about putting their games on the competing platform on top of selling Xboxes, on top of selling Game Pass. And then PlayStation is saying we need to do more on PC. We need to release more of our games on PC so we can recoup more money so we can continue game development. And the funny thing is like, as much as I love the PC platform, the PC push for these consoles have kind of ruined the point of owning both platforms. There's been no reason to own an Xbox for a while since Xbox decided to do its Play Anywhere initiative, and now they're kind of giving you less and less of a reason to buy a PlayStation 5. I bought a PS5 primarily for Spider-Man Miles Morales, to have the best version of that game that was not on PS4. I wanted to have the 60 FPS ready for that game, and I also played Astro's Playroom, and that was a surprise hidden gem. Well, not a hidden gem, but for a pack-in game that came with your console, that was a really good game. And then Returnal came through and blew me away. Returnal so far is one of my favorite games of this current console generation. But then they just throw these games on PC. Like, both Horizon games are on PC now. Both Spider-Man games are on PC right now. Spider-Man 2 is eventually going to be coming out to PC. And Returnal is out on PC. So assuming you're not into FOMO, assuming that you can wait, are you really going to go out and buy a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X to play these games knowing damn well they're going to go to PC? No, you're probably not. And with PlayStation, it's always been like, okay, we're going to release it on our console first, and then we're going to release it on PC. At least they were smart about it, saying like, hey, you're going to play it first on PlayStation before we push it to PC. I understand their strategy with that, but I'm at the point where, what's the point of even owning a PS5? Because if I'm going to double dip on these games anyway, I might as well just cut out the middleman with the console and just go and buy the PC version of the game as soon as it comes out. I'm saving another $60 and $70. I'm actually going to be able to enjoy my playthrough a lot more with the rig that I have right now. I have a 3070 Ti. It's still holding up really well for 1440p. So at this point, it's like, why even own both platforms? And then Nintendo. This is the perfect opportunity for Nintendo to announce new hardware, because they've had an amazing 2023. They've got games lined up for last month, this month, March, April, going into a little bit over the summer. And then after they released the 4 games that they announced, which obviously another code we just got, fantastic game by the way. Princess Peach Showtime's coming out in March. The Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake's about to come out. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is going to come out, and Paper Mario 1000 Year Door is going to come out soon. Granted, like a lot of these are mostly remasters, but you can tell that Nintendo's getting ready to announce the next iteration or the next gen version of the Nintendo Switch. And with your competitors kind of falling behind a little bit in terms of first party releases and in terms of like different strategies, now is probably the greatest time to put your foot down and be like, hey, Sony's not going to give you a lot of exclusives next year. Microsoft doesn't know what the hell they're doing, but we're going to release a new Nintendo Switch that's going to be a lot more powerful, that's going to give you the same hybrid gameplay that we've been providing with the previous system, and it's going to come out in September. Now, I'm not going to dive into that rumor mill because I hate when Nintendo channels focus too much on the rumor mill when it comes to the Switch 2. But right now, console gaming is in such a weird state. I'm glad that Xbox is still around. I'm glad that they're going to be staying around. Sony, with the PS5, had a really good launch, but it's becoming clear that the AAA budgets that they're trying to push, not only in just Sony games, but in gaming in general, is not sustainable. And I really wish PlayStation would go back to focusing on those quirky, AA games, especially the ones that used to come from Japan Studio, even though Japan Studio is not around anymore. I would be okay with Sony releasing a lot more smaller titles in between the big AAA, big budget games, so that way we have more exclusives to go off of when it comes to PlayStation. And Nintendo, love them or hate them, they've been doing really well with the steady game releases, and I'm somebody who survived the entire Wii U generation, where there was nothing but droughts every 6 months on Wii U until a big title came out. So Nintendo's holding it down pretty well. PlayStation, they're kind of getting to a point where they really need to better their first-party output. And hey, I actually like the fact that PlayStation's going to focus more on PC, because again, in the future, especially if they put all their games on PC the same day as console, I won't ever have to worry about buying PlayStation hardware again. Same with Xbox. I don't have to worry about buying Xbox hardware because of their PC initiative that's currently going on right now. And yeah, dude, it just, as much as I like the PC, there's really no point in owning consoles right now unless you're the Switch. And I'm not even trying to be a fanboy. I'm not trying to do any of that stuff. It's just like, this generation has been so disappointing. And we've gotten some great games, but I feel like that game output has really kind of slowed down significantly when it comes to PlayStation and Xbox. Honestly, I don't even know the reason why I'm making this video, because I mainly was going to talk about the Xbox podcast, but they kind of been, the podcast that they had was everything that they've been saying. Talking about Game Pass is only going to exist on Xbox. We're going to try to spread out to any and all screens. Any screen that device out there is going to be compatible with Xbox in some weird way, blah, blah, blah. Really just general PR speak and talking in circles. So, and then the Sony news came out, and yeah, they're like, I'm all for them trying to push more to PC. Granted, it is kind of taking away a purpose of owning a PlayStation console, but it is what it is. What do you guys think down below? I don't even know how I'm going to title this video. What do you think of the current console generation cycle? Has it been disappointing to you? Do you like the push that everything's going over to PC? Do you think that there's a devalue of the consoles? Do you like that everything's going to PC? And also, when do you all think the Switch 2 is coming out? But I'm going to have more content on this channel. I've been taking a long hiatus. I got a Zelda collection video update that I'm going to do, and I think I am going to do a little bit more Nintendo content, but I'm not going to focus on rumor and speculation. I'm only going to go by stuff that we know, and I want to talk about the games themselves. I'm not really into the gaming news cycle. I just want to talk about games and show gameplay. But anyways, guys, I'm still thinking of a new video ideas, but here's one to hold off for right now. And like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all later.